Well, hello guys and welcome back to Mr. G Physics. Here's Mr. G and today we're going to be doing another video for the grade 12. We're going to practice or see how to name esters. It's not that difficult, it's easy. But before we move on, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can get all the notifications and videos I post on regular basis. Well, the first thing we have to learn or to know is what is the functional group for esters. Now, the structural formula of the functional group is when you have one carbon that have a double bond with one oxygen and that carbon is bonded to another oxygen that is bonded to a carbon. This is the functional group of ester. So whenever you find an organic compound, if it's an ester, you will have two oxygen. That is important to know here. If we write this functional group in condensed formula will be C OO and another C. That will be how to write the this functional group in condensed formula. It is often confused with carboxylic acid, alright? And sometimes children don't look carefully and also confuse it with ketones because they see the double bond there with the oxygen. So be careful, it could get confused. The general formula of the esters is C N H2N O2. And see, these are the basis of naming esters. You need to know the functional group in either or in both in condensed formula as well as in structural formula, because you need to be able to identify, right, this organic compound is an ester and so on. Now, esters form when alcohols combine with carboxylic acid. So that is a very important thing. When alcohol combined with the carboxylic acid, the product will be ester and water. Okay, this reaction is called esterification. And then another substance, an inorganic acid, must be used that is going to be as a catalyst. In this case, we are going to use H2SO4. This is sulfuric acid. And the sulfuric acid have two purposes in this specific reaction. It will be a catalyst, and that is the first important thing about that sulfuric acid, but second is going to be a dehydrating agent. So it's also going to be a dehydrating agent. It will be taking water away. Alright, so but we're going back to the ester now. When naming esters, and this is important, when naming esters, the name of the alcohol is always first in the name of the ester. The alcohol will always come first, and that will give the first part of the name of the esters. Okay, so if the alcohol used was methanol, we'll start with meth, then for the ester it will come methyl. Let's fix that word. Alright, if the alcohol was ethanol, it will become ethyl. This is for the ester. Okay, if it was butan-1-ol, for example, it will come butyl. And this is the first part of the name of the ester. Ester have two parts in the name. The second part of the name will come from the carboxylic acid. Carboxylic acid, and this is the part that will end in O8. Okay, so if we use meth, when I say meth, I mean meth, and here is supposed to be an H there. When I mean meth, it means methanoic acid. If you use methanoic acid, this name will change to methanoate, because this is the part of the name of the ester. If the carboxylic acid used was ethanoic acid, so I'm going to stop it there, it will come ethanoate. Right? Will end in O8. And guys, so on. If it's pent, I'm not going to use but again. If it's going to be pent, when I mean pent is pentanoic acid, alright? Then you will finish in pentanoate. That is the part from the ester. So according to the combination that alcohol and carboxylic acid you have, you will get the name of the ester, and it's really simple. That is in terms of what is the name, when you have a name, and so on. Okay, so starting from here, if you have, for example, butyl propanoate, this is an ester. You know it's an ester because it ends in O8. So this compound is an ester. Okay, so what we know from here? We know that the alcohol use was butan 1-ol. That was the alcohol use, and we know that the carboxylic acid was propanoic acid. Okay, so writing the names, of coming from the name and knowing what was the alcohol and what was the acid is easy. It's really easy. Now, what if we have the structural formula? How to know which one is from the alcohol and which one is from the carboxylic acid? That is also easy. So let's see this example. We are with this specific compound. We know it's an ester because we immediately identify the functional group. Here is the functional group, and we know that is an ester. So let's write here esters. Is an ester. So that is the first part, and you know what? I'm going to take it from here because I need that space where I just wrote there. This one is an ester. Okay, that is an ester, and remember it's a combination of alcohol and carboxylic acid. So all we are going to do, we are going to look for this oxygen-carbon combination, and we're going to cut that ester right there. All the time you look for that part that you have oxygen and carbon, and you are going to cut right there. The part of the ester that has the oxygen is coming from the alcohol. So in other words, this part here is coming from the alcohol, and we remember we spoke about that one. There is an alcohol of 1, 2, 3 and 4 carbon. The 4 is butan-ol, butan 1-ol. That was the alcohol used here. The alcohol used was butan 1-ol. So I said previously, if it's coming from but, we go to write butyl. So all we're going to write, instead of butan 1-ol or any of that, the only word we're going to write is butyl. This one become butyl. That's it. That is the first part of the name. The second part is going to be the carboxylic acid. This one is the carboxylic acid, which is coming from the carboxylic acid. As you can see, there is a carboxylic acid with 1, 2 and 3 carbon. Therefore it was propanoic acid. Propanoic acid, that was the acid used. So we said before here, the part that is coming from the acid will come O8. So if it was a propanoic acid, it will come to propanoate. So that's all, and that is how we write the name here. So this one is propanoate. This is the name of this specific ester. Guys, really easy. I hope you understand, because it's not that bad. Now, if you have to write the whole equation of esterification, which is quite simple, this is important because you need to identify what was the alcohol involved and which one was the carboxylic acid involved. So let's write here, to finish this video, the reaction for this, of the formation of this specific ester. So we're starting with butan 1-ol in structural formula. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3 and 4, and here's going to be my functional group. This is the alcohol, okay, in carbon number 1, and then the rest are just hydrogens. Okay, so this is going to be the alcohol involved in that chemical reaction. This one you are going to add now a acid. What acid was involved? Maybe we should write the name here. Butan 1-ol. What was the acid involved? Propanoic acid. We will go back there. It was propanoic acid, 3 carbons only. So now it's coming the acid. I'm going to start with the functional group on this side, but this is entirely up to you. It does not really matter where you do the functional group. So it's 1 carbon, 2 carbon, and 3 carbon, and that is propanoic acid. Alright, that is propanoic acid. And guys, that's it. Let's write the name here. These are the reactant. Now what we have for the product, I'm going to draw the arrow here. There obviously is no space for the product, but there is important. I'm going to include here the catalyst. It's important because sometimes could be there is H2SO4, the catalyst, right? And now the product, let's write it here because there's no enough space, and let's combine the alcohol and the carboxylic acid in that ester. And this is the ester. This is the ester that forms here. The name, butyl propanoate. What is left behind here? Water must be part of the reaction. It does not need to be in structural formula, but we can do it this way if you want. It's not a big problem. H2O, or it could be in that specific way. That is, water is an inorganic compound in this reaction. Guys, I hope you understand. It's really simple. If you understand, thumb up, subscribe for the channel. You can write comment, you can ask me questions. I'll see you next time. Mr. G here.